Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video, and today we are back on iRacing. Nah, what? Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new iRacing video, and today I'm looking to try and aim for victory in iRacing for the first time. As you know, I am not that quick as of yet. I'm still quite new to iRacing and F4, so I may be able to find my level in today's video. But first of all, have a look at that avoiding action. I have no idea how I avoided that. But without further ado, let's hop into race 1 with Dorian Boccolacci. I've probably absolutely botched the pronunciation of that name, but we move on. It was not an easy race. I just had no idea where the grip was in this race, and I was actually nowhere near Boccolacci in the end. He was all the way out in front. Meanwhile, I got rear wing damage, repaired it, and still drove pretty terribly. So we're going to ignore that race ever happened and move on to race number 2, where we're now on the final lap of a 20-minute race here in Navarra, and I've been sat in P3 the entire time with a bucket of popcorn watching the top 2 fight, but I've not been able to make any inroads on those two at all until at the final corner they collide, and biblically I go through to take the lead after doing nothing, and already we've completed our goal to win a race in this video. Absolutely epic. I've never been so lucky in a racing game in my life. So that was beautiful. Into the lead we go to cross the line and win in Navarra. A huge boost to my I rating. Well, let's have a look at the onboard of the guy in P2. What just happened here? He goes to the inside and the Red Bull moves under braking, blocking the guy in P2. And to be honest, the Red Bull and the guy in P2 managed to cross the line on the podium. But what was the Red Bull doing, moving under braking? And really, even if I did record most of that Grand Prix, it was literally me being sat behind the top 2 doing nothing the entire time. So it wouldn't have been that interesting compared to race 3 as we get underway, qualifying from P5 on the grid. Let us have a look and see if we can make it 2 for 2 here in Navarra. Going into turn 1, we're going to be nice and careful, making sure we don't make contact. They're 3 wide nearly through turn 1, but thankfully everyone is being very sensible going through the first 3 right-handers, and I've managed to keep P5. But at the same time, you don't want to really send it and try and get into P4 or P3, as if you do try to drive aggressively in this F4 car, you will end up binning it yourself, and that will be a little bit embarrassing, and you will lose a lot of track position. So we keep it clean, neat and tidy. We are allowed to lose a bit of time at the beginning of this race, but at the moment it is one big train. No one is within a second of each other. Meanwhile, P3 has absolutely binned it there through the left-hander, very easily done. But we're up into P4 and the podium is right in front of me. But I'm about to make a mistake of my own here through the left-hander, going too aggressive and spinning the car around, somehow not being collected there. So we do get away with no damage, but that is such a frustrating incident to make, knowing that we're literally right behind the podium. We're now down into P8 here, and it's going to be a long old race trying to make up the lost time. But we move on now, and the 2 guys in front of me are side by side at the moment, going into turn 1, and I can't quite see what is happening, but my engineer will tell me that there's been an incident ahead, and look at that, there's a car way off the track, and they rejoin, getting super drive out of the corner, and that kind of takes me aback, and I go a bit wide there at turn 3. But I'm right behind these 2 now, putting the pressure on, trying to see if I can get ahead into the slipstream, and the guy lets me through. So I'm not entirely sure why he did that. He maybe got a 1-second slowdown penalty for whatever reason, maybe corner cutting. But that is a free position for me, and now I can put the pressure on this blue and purplish pink car, who has a terrible exit through that right-hander, and I could have a look going into the final corner on board, having a look on the outside, which will turn to the inside line. But then the guy starts lagging, and I cannot really see where he is, and I have to just be very careful not to hit his right rear tyre. And now I'm under pressure here from the guy who let me through just a moment ago, but thankfully I do tuck into the slipstream and stay ahead. Also, I then realised that my lower wings are going to be very helpful. I'm technically doing an Albon at this point. I've removed the front wing to induce more understeer while allowing me to have a more stable base in the car. So I'm going to have added straight line speed and more stability. You can't really go wrong with that. And I'm really putting the pressure on, having a look, going into the fast left-hander, but obviously thinking better of it. But this is a move that seems inevitable. We're all over the back of this guy, and all it will take is one lunge down the inside at the next corner. We're already somewhat side by side into the right-hander, and that's another move done. And I believe I'm up into P5 now as we skip all the way to lap 9, as the Renault driver of Alvaro managed to overtake those two. And now I'm under pressure. He is really quick, and he gets some great drive out of the final corner. My engineer is telling me to stay on the left, but look at that in the mirrors. My straight line speed is unbelievable. I've only got 2 clicks left on the front wing, and somehow I've got that much straight line speed. I can just about defend. So we move on to lap 11 now, and I'm still ahead of this Renault. It's an opposite of Imola 2005. Fernando Alonso is the one attacking the Ferrari of Michael Schumacher as we begin the final lap of this Grand Prix. And I'm just looking to try and keep it clean and hang on to P5 here. As we go through the right-hander one more time, I don't get the greatest run. I was a little bit too careful there, and now Alvaro could have a look, but again doesn't have the straight line speed. He'll have a look on the inside and will think better of it. He very nearly hits the back of me at the left-hander, but I am hanging on for dear life, and there's been a collision up ahead. So we've now taken P4, but now through the final corner, the guy involved in the collision makes contact with me, and now it will be a drag race to the line with Alvaro in the Renault livery, wheel to wheel. Can we just about hang on? We can, and we will take P4 in a very thrilling end to a Grand Prix.
Good job, very good job.
And of course, my credit goes to Alvaro. He was very clean. He could have easily sent one into one of those many slow corners, but he decided to keep it clean and try and wait for the perfect opportunity, and got very unlucky not to beat me in the end. But let us move on to the final race of the video, race number 4, as we are now going around Oran Park in Australia. And I was on a flyer of a qualifying lap until I decided to remember what I'm doing, and then I spun, meaning I'll be at the very back of the grid. This will be painful because the track is so small. If a car bins it in front of you, it might be over before it's even begun. But we're now revving up to 5 red lights here, and we are underway. Obviously getting a clean getaway. It seems everyone got a clean getaway off the line. And now through turn 1, obviously being careful, maybe looking for the odd overtake or two, but you don't want to throw it all away at turn 1 on lap 1. So yeah, mission accomplished. We get through turn 1 without getting damaged or taken out, and now we can go on the attack, attacking the BWT Alpine livery down the inside at the fast right-hander and getting that move done nice and easily. Meanwhile, there's a car going straight on there. I have no idea what happened to him, but we move on into P16 here, onto lap 2. And now next up in front of me is a black and pink car, and he makes an error going through the right-hander, so that allows me to get some great drive, going for the move on the outside, and we make contact. My car nearly flies into the air like Lewis Hamilton in Belgium 2022, and it seemed inevitable that we were going to make contact through that corner. I did try to leave as much room as possible without losing grip on that outside line, but it seems a collision was inevitable. I'd say it's a racing incident. Again, he couldn't really do much more differently to avoid contact. But now I've got wheel damage, and I make things worse for myself here. I reverse, and then I get under power while still in reverse and hit the wall. and I've got rear wing damage now. So at this point I'm thinking, yep, game over, GG's, I may as well retire the race. But the car didn't handle too badly to start with, so I thought I may as well try and keep going. And of course at this point, pure pace isn't going to get me points because my pace should be quite poor.
Car stop ahead, car stop on the left, car stop ahead, car stop on the left, go right.
Interesting. Moving on, my pace should be quite poor because of the damage, but I'm already up into P16 I believe, after a few cars have terrorized each other. And after a while of driving with the damage, I found it really wasn't that bad. I was quite near my PB on every lap, only about half a second to a second off my PB around this track. Meanwhile, through the final corner, very interesting, we're going to try and avoid that car. There's been a massive collision on the main straight, and all of a sudden, I'm in the top 10. After doing nothing pretty much, with rear wing damage and wheel damage, still driving on my way through this track, trying to keep it clean without making any other errors as we move on. And look at that, I'm even up on my delta at this point in the lap, as my engineer keeps assuring me that we're looking good. We're P10 at the moment, and we're halfway through this Grand Prix, as I'm trying to find the limit of this broken F4 car. As now we move on to lap 15 now, and there's a car in front of me who is a lap down, and the car behind me is also a lap down, and I'm going to get absolutely sent on into the right-hander, and I decided to let him through, and I quickly realised that this guy that just dive-bombed me is fighting the car ahead for position, and with my damage, they're probably quicker than me. I may as well just sit back and enjoy the show for P12, I believe. Look at that, wheel to wheel, doing better than me through that left-hander. And wheel to wheel, and they make contact, and they've absolutely murdered each other. That was pretty entertaining. Moving on to the final lap, and the leaders have now caught up with me. P1 and P2 need to get me out of the way if they want their fight for the lead, to be fair. So I'm very happy to slow down for them, let them go, and see who will get the win fairly without interrupting them. It turns out they didn't even change positions anyway, but through the final corner to finish in P8 after a very long and strange Grand Prix. But that is what happens when you keep your head in the game and don't give up. Yep, a very cliche way to end the video. Maybe that second win is the friends we made along the way. But that is the end of today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content. In terms of iRacing, I might make an iRacing video every once in a while, just for the banter to show you what I'm up to. But for now, I'll see you all in the next video, and goodbye.
To live life golden, yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden. They're about to see it shine, 'cause we're